Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Jim Bob the MossMan Ferris, and this is your morning coffee with MossMan for June the 6th, 2020, and it is Saturday. And today it looks like we're going to have mostly sunny skies, a high right around 93 degrees, so please stay hydrated today. And we're going to have about a 10% chance of precipitation. I'm kind of hoping that we get some clouds that bigger clouds that kind of roll in, give us a little bit of relief from the sun bearing down on us, but we'll see. That's why you need to make sure you're drinking plenty of water and you have sunscreen on you, so that way you can get the spray, because I can't stand to have it on my hands. It drives me nuts. But make sure that you've got that going for yourself today if you're going to be working outside or just being outside, period, especially with your, short sleeves, stuff like that. But we're going to have a south-southeast wind at 10 to 15 miles per hour, which should help. It's the stagnant air that makes it so much worse, being outside doing stuff. So there's that. This evening, it looks like we're going to have a low right around 72 degrees with a 10% chance of precipitation and a south-southeast wind at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Looks like generally clear skies right now. So we'll see what Mother Nature throws at us, but it looks like that's going to be the case this evening. For our Sunday, looks like we're going to have a sunny Sunday. It says mainly sunny, and looks like we're going to have a high right around 92 degrees with a 10% chance of precipitation. Doubt it. And a south-southeast wind at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Tomorrow evening looks to be a mostly clear sky, low right around 72 again, with a 7% chance of precipitation. Again, doubt it. With a south-southeast wind at 10 to 20 miles per hour. That is what the weather is doing. Now, you're probably wondering, Jim Bob, why is it that you have Superman now in both the little figure and in the cup? Well, let me tell you. June 6th, 1944 is the anniversary. It was the day of D-Day, okay? And so I like to keep that in mind during the day today. So I want to thank all the World War II veterans that are still with us. Thank you for your service, and all the other veterans that that are out there. Thank you for your service, and the ones that are still serving. Again, thank you for your service. I want to say that. And this is also June 1938. Okay, is when Superman first showed up in Action Comics #1. And it was the first three comic books to come out were Superman, Superman, Captain America, and Batman. Okay, those three. Followed shortly after Wonder Woman. Okay, so those are the four comics that came out during the late 1930s, very first part of the 1940s. So I think, and they are the American mythology. Okay, they're a part of American mythology. How we have, Paul Bunyan, and all those, Casey Jones, another one, stuff like that. I think those, are original, storytellings and stuff like that. But there's just something about comic books that I've always gotten into and been of the mindset for reading. And the very first comic book that I ever bought was Superman Comics number 75. Yeah, and those that are out there that have read it, that is the Death of Superman, the black bag issue that had the Superman symbol on the front of it, on the bag, with the symbol dripping, quote unquote, in blood. And reading that comic book, I'm like, dude, because I liked Superman, as a kid. I always thought it was, but I never read the comics until that one, and I'm like, whoa. So I got into the whole comic book collecting thing. I eventually ended up getting every comic book from the first appearance of Doomsday clear through Funeral for a Friend epilogue, that whole set. I've got them downstairs in my man cave, shall we say, that has them all down there, and every one of them I've kept in bags with cardboard backing to them. I have a copy of the comic book in the black bag itself. I also have a copy that is like a second or third printing or something like that, that has the Superman cape, kind of tattered, hanging on a stick, and yeah, it's a pretty epic story with the Superman mythos. But anyways, the reason why I have it is because I'm such a Superman fan and huge into comic books and stuff like that. I mean, MossMan is a agent or an avatar of the Green, okay? And in DC Comics, there's Swamp Thing. And Swamp Thing and MossMan are actually friends in the comic books, and because they're both avatars of the Green, and I really appreciate what comic books did for me growing up. A lot of people, that's just not good reading, stuff like that. That's just full of as really old people would say, poppycock. Old British people. Sorry to the older British folks out there, might be watching. I'm just, whatever. Anyways, they provide a good chunk of, hey, being human is all, and being in this life, you've got two choices. You can either choose to be the hero type, which always perseveres, even though sometimes you fall. You learn how to pick yourself back up. You keep moving forward, the hero's journey, if you will. Or you become, you decide to become a villain, and lead not that great of a life. It's a very sad life, stuff like that. And that's important for young people to experience and think of. And you're probably sitting there wondering, but Jim Bob, what does that have to do with the art stuff? It doesn't. It has nothing to do with it. It has everything to do with the fact that we need more hope. We need more heroes out there. Ones that will stand up for their neighbor and say, you know what? I don't agree with this. We've got so many scary things going on right now. We need people to pick themselves up and just say, you know what? I'm going to live the best life possible. And I'm going to treat others the way I want to be treated. And I want to be treated with respect and a little bit of compassion. That's all we ask for, right? Well, to me, that's what comic books instilled in me. And I've talked with my son a little bit about it, but I really didn't get the aha moment until later in my teens and whatnot, of what, kind of what all that really meant. It's like I understood it sort of, but I didn't quite get it until, oh, well, teenagers, you're trying to figure stuff out, you're angsty and yada yada yada. So I latched a hold of the Superman character, and I latched a hold of Batman, and those two, it's like the quote unquote Boy Scout always does, what's best for everybody, but then there's Batman, which is the one that, when I'm really angsty and, kind of ticked off with the world and stuff like that, and like, you know what, I'm gonna go after these people with, I'm gonna beat them in and stuff like that. You have that angst, that anger or aggression and stuff like that. But you also have to think things through, and in order to win over your opponent. Now, Superman is idealistic, okay, and I just, I've always tried to keep my idealism, but being pragmatic as much as possible and trying to think a step ahead. Be like Superman with the hope, and Batman with the, hey man, plan ahead. So there's that. So I would encourage those out there that have kids and whatnot, share comic books with them. If that's something that you grew up with and something that you enjoy, I would share those with and if you haven't experienced reading a comic book in a while, there's a lot of really good story arcs that are out there. So and I'm more of a DC guy, but I also enjoy a lot of Marvel comics, and the Marvel movies, fantastic. And I can't wait to see what they do after that the whole line of films that are coming out or whatnot after Endgame has happened. So we'll kind of see where that all goes from here. But anyways, I'll go ahead and shove off here because I got to get the lawn mowed and whatnot, and lawns. There's a couple of lawns that I do usually on Saturdays. But in order to kind of beat the heat, I think I'm going to maybe do some in the morning, maybe do some in the evening. Now, in the evening, it's going to be really hot, but once the sun gets into the west and you get some of that coverage, because there's a good chunk of trees where I do mow, to where I can mow at like 6:30, 7 o'clock, into 8 o'clock, and have that coverage to where I'm not, oh my god man, I'm super hot. So again, plan ahead. Okay, plan your attack, and make sure you're staying hydrated, and that's the best way to be. Okay, and with all that, that's my $2 for today, right? So, anyways, with that being said, remember, treat others the way you want to be treated. Know that the world is better off because you are in it, and know that I am always pulling for you. And for myself, Jeb Bob the MossMan Ferris, this has been your Morning Coffee with MossMan for June the 6th, 2020. And go out there, make the world awesome because you're in it. And we'll see you next time on Morning Coffee with MossMan. Cheers. Have a good one, everybody. Yep. Good coffee. We'll see you.